My name is Eli Tucker-Raymond, and I'm up here alone, but I have many colleagues, one of whom is over here, Cliff, doing this work with me. In academia, we're often taught that all this work is done alone, but it never is. So anyway, this is a picture of Mel King. Does anyone, and a mural of Mel King. Do people know who Mel is? Some people do, right? He's a longtime Boston activist and politician and community organizer. And one of the things Mel did, he's a pioneer of computer science education in Boston. He started a program called Learn to Teach, Teach to Learn at the South End Technology Center. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, I did some work with the South End Technology Center doing an ethnography there for 9 months, and a little bit about what makes that program work. So we found six components of that program that contribute to learning and engagement. And one is that it's 36 high school students go there over the summer. They're gender balanced. They represent the city in terms of race and ethnicity and where they go to school in Boston Public Schools. One of the things that they do is they make things for the community to improve the community. So one of the things Mel said was anything that is used to take life is low tech, and anything that is used to enhance life is high tech. And so one of the things that they do is to create these things that support the community. So for instance, a group made a prototype of a water piano. So you dip your fingers in and it makes different sounds. So that because they reasoned that kids weren't getting exposed to the arts. And so they would put this water piano in the park in the South End so that kids could play with water in the summertime and, practice their musical skills. The other thing is that the young people act as teachers. So they go out into public housing or into the parks and they teach other young children, much like Young People's Project does. And then just like the Young People's Project, there's a cascading mentorship structure. So there's college students who teach high school students who then teach younger children. And there's also some older adults there as well. They also compose poems or raps about their relationship to technology. Unlike school, they're allowed to socialize. And so that contributes to building relationships. And finally, it's positioned within Mel's work as a community activist. And so it's within the Black freedom struggle, particularly in Boston. So their work is both historicized and politicized. It's not something, computer science is not something that happens in a house or in a lab. It happens in the community for the community. And so it also positions the young people as historical actors, people who make change. So with that, I'll talk a little bit about my own work. This is a dance studio in Gary, Indiana, where we had a hip hop computational making camp. And so one of the things, that we were asked was like, what do we have to bring to broadening participation in computing? And one of the things we look at is what are the resources that learning ecologies can provide for learners, both in terms of their learning and for their identity building. And so they engaged in both computing and hip hop ideas together. So not hip hop for computing or computing for hip hop, but really seeing those things as integrated. Again, like the South End Technology Center, like YPP, we have multi-generational group membership. So there's a 6-year-old in this group and there's a 16-year-old in this group, and they're working together to build this Makey DJ station, which actually has a working record you can scratch. That's all connected by copper tape to a scratch program. There was sound effects, and then finally, we changed where they did the computing. So computing happens on the floor, spread out. They get to move around. It's not at a desk. So those are some of the resources there. And then, so what does it mean, I guess? So if we think about Mel's high tech and we think about our futures together, broadening participation means bringing computing to people, for people. So that means thinking about how we are in relation to one another and how we are how other people are also in relation to computing. Kind of a little bit of like what Junia was just talking about in the DEI class. And so then the question for us is, how do we develop those ecological resources for young people to develop identities as people who do computation, as well as identities as people who can make change in the world? That's it. Thank you.